Saturday morning. So today we're going to build this guy. We have the head here. I'm setting up some parts over here and some O-rings, seals, new oil pump. So we are going to put everything together and put this motor together. So time to get started. I'm not gonna do a time lapse, but I'll show you step by step as I go. Just getting pretty tired. Can't wait to not work tomorrow and just be lazier. Okay, let me get started on this and then I'll update you guys. Alright guys, so about to put the oil pump on. Got the rear main seal on. So I do a little bit of priming. I put a little bit of oil in there, just a little bit, so that there's something in here when we go to crank it eventually, and then just do the minimal amount of Toyota FIPG on there and put the O-rings in and a minimal amount there to hold them in place of the FIPG. Then I put the pump on. I already pressed the front main seal in, so then we will roll the motor over and do the pickup tube, the baffle, or the upper pan, pickup tube, baffle, then the lower pan, and then we'll start on like water neck going in, just this guy here, and eventually get the head on there. Alright, gonna keep moving along. Oh, I have all my assorted. When I had dismantled the motor, I have like all the things labeled. So there's the upper oil pan, oil pump, lower oil pan. Just makes it easier when you're reassembling. And then we'll get a new pulley. We'll use this tensioner, the billet tensioner bracket, and then we'll get a new pulley, pulley tensioner, I guess, and then get a new tensioner, and we'll install that stuff. Alright guys, so got the oil pump on, and I prepped with brake clean the bottom here, and then I did a little bit of FIPG and a little bit over here, just the right amount. Certain areas I have more, but the areas that we're concerned about are right here, so that when it compresses down, it's not going to overflow and try and clog that hole. That's all we get for oil for the motor, so you don't want to like restrict that at all by putting too much RTV, or if you're using Toyota FIPG, too much of it right here, because when it squishes down, some of it's going to head this way, some of it's going to head that way, but you really don't want any heading near your area there, so that's why I don't go close to the edge, because we know it's going to get close to the edge, and can't do it perfect, but you know, just trying to be cautious on that part. So okay, I'm gonna put the oil pan on now, then snug it down, then do the pickup tube, baffle, lower oil pan, which is this guy, and then roll it back over, and we can do the head studs and put the head on. Okay, keep going. Ooh, so many new parts. Kind of love building motors. So that's where I'm at. Got a new Greddy drain plug and a new lower oil pan. I'm gonna do some FIPG on this guy. That's that Greddy drain plug. Greddy makes a lot of really cool accessories. You'll see, just wait till I get to this part of the motor. You'll see. Okay, so yep. Let me get this buttoned up, and then we'll roll the motor over and we can work on the head area and head gaskets, studs, that stuff. Side note, we're working on this. No, don't leave it over filled. Whoa, Joe's doing Torco stuff? Yeah. To the Supra? Ooh, it's peeing a little bit. You went too far with the team pump it. Oh, drink it. Alright, back to the motor.
You got it, man.
Alright, Joe. Before I roll it over, I wanted to show you guys. There's that. Then we got gates, belt tensioner pulley, and bracket. We do use the other bracket though, the billet one, so we don't crack anything, but we're going to take this new pulley off. We got the Gates RPM timing belt and the Gates pulley tensioner. Brand new. So we're going to install all these in a second here, and then we'll put our front water inlet on there, and then we will timing belt pulley on here, and then maybe the little key and a couple other things, and then we'll move on to the head. Alright guys, so got this really cool alternator bracket on from Greddy. You guys kind of saw me get this in a couple videos back. I showed it to you, but now it's on the motor. I didn't have this on my current motor in the car. I have their, it's made by them, but it's not anodized blue. Because back like last year and the year before, it wasn't really offered to the public. Now they're offering it to the public. Really cool. Looks good. It can't work for everyone, because if you do run a water pump, you can't use it. But if you're not running a water pump, this is your solution for your race motor. Greddy alternator bracket, drift motion water inlet. This is a really cool piece. I had made a custom one just out of like tubing and a little flange I made, and I talked to Aaron at Drift Motion about it, and then he took like my input for the race motors, and then his ingenuity and all his skill with CNC and a 3D printer, and he came up with this, and then he took it to his machinist, and this is what the final product is. Works great. Other people are using it now. I first started, his first one he made for me was in 2016, then we did all of 17, and now it's going into 18. This is like a must-have. So he does it in a 16 and a 20, so go check that out on his website. And then if you're also doing this, why not do this from Greddy, because then everything just works. And then if you do want the better power steering setup, you can check out how I have it with the other Greddy bracket for a KRC, but some people don't need that. And then here's a closer look at the really clean surface for the decked head with the CP 10-to-1 compression pistons. This is it. We're gonna put he's getting the tensioner bracket and pulley ready and cleaning up everything, getting the Loctite off. Then we'll put the Gates RPM belt on, and we'll put tensioner bracket and pulley on, and then we'll throw on the ATI damper, and then we'll move to the head side of things. But it's coming along pretty nice, and it looks really, really good. Pretty excited about this one. It's getting exciting. Check it out. So we got the ARP head studs in, and then we will be putting the head gasket on in a second, and then put the head on. So we always use this fastener assembly from ARP when we put that in, and then we use it on a little bit on the bottom threads as they go in, and then we're going to use it again on the nuts that we put on top. So just following directions, make sure everything comes out how we want. Oh, it's missing that. Okay, so just slowly getting everything together, but it's coming along nice. I'll update you guys. Well, maybe I'll let you see when I put the head on. I'll just put the camera recording off to the side. Okay, so now we're going to put the head gasket on, and then strap the head onto the motor. We're gonna use like 6 people right now though to do this. That was an exaggeration. We'll probably use 2 or 3. Okay, so we're torquing it down. We've done the first 2 sets. We're at like 65 foot-pounds now. And then we get a bigger torque wrench and we go to 100 foot-pounds because we have ARP studs. That's what it calls for. And then we can put the cams in, timing belt, cam gears, all that stuff, and covers, and we're done. But still a little bit to go. A little bit to go. Yep, this is the fun part.
Having 100 is like huge.
Yeah. So we broke the socket, got a new socket. Unfortunately, it's super thin clearance tolerance, so we have to use a 3/8 drive socket and a 1/2 inch torque. So that's happened before, happened now. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Okay, now we'll do our last pass by to double check. Alright, so got the BC cam gears on. Got some NGK Iridium plugs in here. And then now we're gonna do the last little bit, which would be Gates tensioner, Gates RPM timing belt, and then after all that's on, we'll put the main pulley on, and before that main pulley, we'll put this little key that blocks the timing belt from jumping out, and that will be the last step. I don't like to wear gloves, but in this scenario I don't want to stain my new timing belt, so I'm wearing gloves. We got everything lined up how we like. Set the cams to our desired advanced on the timing, and then we also set the cams at TDC, set the crank at TDC. The covers are just resting there because I have a way I do it off of the covers. Even though you're supposed to have that back plate for the motor, I kind of have it down where I do it off the covers because I've done it a couple times in the past. Maybe like 100. So I just set them here so I have my reference, but we'll put them back on in a second, all the way tight. But for now, we're happy with this, and then we're gonna just rotate the motor a couple times, checking stuff after we've released the tension on this guy. Ready? Do one tight. And then there's a trick that you can rotate it just off of the crescent wrench on the crank with the key in there. Old guy showed me this, so you can rotate it like that and it doesn't mind it, and it's not. This is harder steel than this, so you're never gonna scrape it with a crescent wrench. This is softer than that, so you'll be okay. We're gonna spin it a couple times, make sure nothing's interfering, slowly do it by hand, and then we'll get it back to TDC, and then we'll put this guy on, we'll put this guy on, we'll put this guy on, we'll torque this down to 240, 238, 240, and then we will probably just put the hardware for the covers on, seal this up, and seal the intake side up so we don't get anything in our motor. And then we'll cap these two guys and this guy, and then and we have one water port I need to cap, and then we will be done. Alright guys, so we are ready to store this in the trailer. It's got the gaskets for the exhaust manifold, but then we have tape behind it. It's just no dust gets in there. Then This is no gasket for intake side, but we got the hardware, all the ARP hardware everywhere. Keep this guy looking good, and ARP hardware stronger, so helps in the strength sense also. This is it. It's a complete backup motor, long block, ready to go, with all the necessary stuff and the block offs how I run it on my car. So if something was to go wrong, then we switch this as quickly as we can and get it in the race car. Hopefully that's not the case and the other one works good all season, and this is just our backup plan. Next we will make some, well, I guess I could put the motor mounts on here, but then I'll make some little wooden kind of crate that this will ride in the trailer with. Last year I did have it on that little, like, looked like a little go-kart frame that I made for it, but that was for a deal with some sponsors to have a display. This year it didn't go that way, so I'm just gonna hide this in my trailers, you know, packed away so that it's ready if I need it, but not so much work unloading and loading it on display each round. So that's that. I'm gonna also put some caps on these, so I'll grab some caps right now, put them on. But other than that, we are ready to go. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and we have literally like 3 days till Long Beach, but first day of like practice is gonna be media day, so that's not technically Long Beach, but that's on Tuesday and today is Saturday. Can't wait, get to drive that guy. Alright guys, talk to you soon.